I gotta be honest, this story is gonna be an uncomfortable one because it's just full of tragedy in a sense, but I think it's useful to tell the story just so when I look back, I did try, right? So, the thumbnail for this video is a picture of Tati at her high school graduation. Now, Shayla and I both went to Tati's graduation. That was really hard for me because I was like, 2 weeks postpartum in that picture, so I was really fucked up. But I definitely tried. We all stopped our lives, right, to go to her graduation. Now I think let me think about this. So Shayla, I want to say, is like 4 years older than Tati, and I'm 3 years older than Shayla. So we're all at different phases in our lives, and we all are ethnically different, religiously different, and have different kind of familial structures, but we are blood related. So Tati's mom and my mom are sisters. And then Shayla's mom's mom is my mom's sister, so maybe it's like actually great cousins. Either way, so I consider myself monoracial, right? That's why I always say like black on both sides, pure blood. My mother is Black American. My father is Ethiopian. That's both a pretty African bloodline. Now, Tati, on the other hand, her father is Mexican and her mother is Black American. For Shayla, her mother is Black American, her father is white. For myself, I grew up religiously Buddhist. For Tati, she religiously grew up Catholic. And for Shayla, she grew up religiously Jewish. But we all grew up in Berkeley, right? For Shayla, for all of her school experiences, she went to private school. For me, for all of my school experiences, I went to public school. For Tati, for all of her school experiences, she also went to public school. But we didn't go to the same schools. Right? Yeah, no, like Tati went to, I don't know where she went actually for elementary school. I think she went to King for middle school. And then for high school, she did go to Berkeley High, and I'm not sure if she was in academic choice or in one of the smaller schools. So for me, my whole life, I definitely had the option to go to private school. I wanted to go to public school because of my passion for art. So I used my public school education as like this art exploration like thing. So even in elementary school, my school was based on art. So there's a lot of visual arts, vocal music, dance, theater. In middle school, there's a strong dance component there. Definitely fell in love with that. Even that translated into after school activities. Like there was an Alvin Ailey summer camp at UC Berkeley. I loved that. Even before going to elementary school, I started ballet when I was like 2, something like that, and just kept going with that. Transitioning into, I went to Oakland School for the Arts for 2 years, maybe like 1.5 years, and was in the dance emphasis. That was a troubling and awful experience. Nevertheless, it did happen. And then even at Berkeley High, I participated in dance production. That was also a miserable experience, but it happened. And I also did cheerleading at Berkeley High. That was very interesting. Tati, on the other hand, I don't think she ever did any after-school activities. She never did any sports. And I'm not really sure if she actually participated in the church groups, or I'm not sure what church she actually went to. I don't know. I never really heard about her going to church, and so I'm actually not sure which communities that she was a part of. So that's going to be important in this story. Shayla, on the other hand, I think every weekend since she was little has gone to there's like a Jewish day camp or something, or like a Jewish after school something to be a part of the Jewish community. And all of her private schools were, I think they were like Catholic private schools. So that is her religious story versus like mine. Oh, I also should mention, so for myself, like in terms of my sort of religious practice growing up, like being Buddhist doesn't just mean you sit here and you say like, all is well karma. Like, no, in the same way that other people go to church, like we also have, it's called like a Buddhist, like Buddhist temples, right? Like we have something like that, but they're like all over. And we go every Sunday, we have like a community event, and you go, and a part of that religion is like faith, practice, and study. It's 3 components. So for me, I liked study the most, so I would just buy all of the books. I've told this story before, but a lot of the books were about how so this particular form of Buddhism that I practiced was it wasn't invented in Japan, but whatever. There's like a leader who kind of started practicing it in Japan. There's reasons why he moved from Japan and started having all of these conversations with international leaders all over the world. And one of the books that really changed who I was as a person is called My Dear Friends in America. So there's this Japanese man who writes a book to the other Buddhists in America explaining the real power that people in America have to promote peace. And there's another part of that where that Buddhist group has like their own resort in Florida where they go and they meditate. Like I've gone 3 times in my life. It is a really cool experience. And then the practice part, there's basically this like Japanese it's like a mantra sort of that you say over and over again, and then you basically chant to this like altar, and you chant for hours. Like my mom, for instance, she chants for like every day, I think 3 hours. And when you go to FNCC, you chant for like, I don't know. I went with Stephanie a couple times and we chanted for like 8 hours. There's a lot of positive things that come from meditation or chanting in that way, where it alters your brain waves. It does some good for your body. Like there are good things to chanting. But like I said, in terms of what that religion was, like I wouldn't, unless there was like some reason for me to go chant a bunch, like I would just go read the book and be like, I wonder what this, there's just a lot of ideas, right? And when I was still practicing it, I wasn't even an adult yet. But there are other parts where there were like study groups. So, there's a lot of books. There's like a whole bookstore that's just like conversations that Buddhism also encourages world peace. I don't believe in world peace anymore. There was also this, it was a movement that group did that was really advocating for the abolition of nuclear weapons. I definitely at this point see a need for nuclear weapons. I hope that Africa gets some nuclear weapons. Honestly, I think that's one continent that needs it more than anybody. We need to get some African nuclear weapons. Because it's clear like that y'all hate black people like way too much. And we probably need to be armed because it ain't looking... not a nice future ahead. That isn't the point either, though. Okay, so then let's talk about Tati. Like, I think the interesting thing about Tati is, like, I never understood, like, why Tati never... It didn't really feel like she had a lot of siblings. So I think she had, like, 4 brothers. She had a sister. But I couldn't ever understand. I don't think she had any, like, friends outside of her family members, and I thought that was really interesting, but I guess I never like questioned it or thought like I should advocate for something to happen. I don't know, I was like a kid too, so how could I, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. but I think that's an important part of the story, because like, even I think I mentioned this, I don't know if I did, But participating in sports groups as a young person, it does something for you because you start to understand what it means to play on a team. And understanding what it means to play on a team, and then how to participate in a sport, and then understanding what it means to win. So all of that stuff, and you can do that also in after school activities or like after school groups, right? Where like you are just engaging with other people your own age. So you can build like meaningful relationships with people who are in community with you. But because Tati never did that, I really think that there were so many questions about the world, questions about who she is as a person, that she was never able to like understand, because like I don't even think that there were enough people, girls, who were like her, right? Because I don't think that she saw herself in me. I don't think she saw herself in Shayla, and probably not in any of our other family members. So like, where would she be able to self-actualize? Because in terms of the media and every other thing, like there weren't many people who were like her. So long story short, it's not even long story short, but Tati ends up dating, I believe, some guy who she knew in high school. That was also a very strange situation because I think the kid was black, but he was like, he seemed like a YN type of kid. From what I understand, he's that. And then also, I think, I'm not sure about this, but I feel like she ends up transferring from Berkeley High to Richmond High because she ended up moving. It's so strange here. They never actually save anybody. Like, no. Consistently, no one is saved, but there's always, like, you know, whatever. Anyway, so Tati, where was I going with this? Yeah, so Tati doesn't have any extracurricular activities. She doesn't have any meaningful friendships. And then outside of her sister, she actually doesn't even have any meaningful family relationships. Maybe there was. I think she has, like, her grandmother or something from her the other side of her family, like her dad's family. And then also, like, she grew up in poverty. And I'll go back to talk about, like, Shayla a little bit. Shayla also grew up in poverty. I did not grow up in poverty. So you have social class differences there. But I think that, like, how can you say this? I can speak very confidently about intersectionality because my life has been intersectional. It just has. Because it just has. Right? And I guess I would hope, I would want that experience for more black youth. But over time, you'll just start to realize that it's impossible. Well, it's not impossible for you to have a diverse experience. Let me not say that. But it is kind of impossible to have the people interact with each other. Like, that is the part that seems very unlikely. And I guess I feel a way about that because I used to feel very differently. And now I don't. Anyway, so Tati starts dating this guy from her high school. He's like not got much going on. She gets pregnant. She just kind of like loses it. Like mentally, she just goes crazy, basically. I don't know, like, what happened. Like, I want to say 12 years ago or something. Maybe it was longer than that. Like, fucking year was that? I want to say like 2018. She just stopped talking. Like, she literally became nonverbal. And she started, like, pulling her hair out. Then she would just randomly, like, disappear and go do drugs or something. I don't even know. And the weird part about this is, like, her mom doesn't even have, like, the emotional intelligence to, like, talk about it. And because in the Bay Area, especially in the East Bay, nobody cares about, it's not even just black people, but like girls of color all over California don't have any resources, like, at all. So, like, their educations are really bad. So, like, they're actually not learning anything in school. And if there were one thing that you could potentially learn from school, it would be some sort of, you know, emotional intelligence where you could, like, talk to your peers about the issues impacting you, whatever they are. And just by doing that, you'd be able to, like, move forward. And luckily, like, we do have TikTok and Instagram and YouTube where you can have a girl who's like you, but who is not living where you're living, and you can, like, talk to her. And you can bridge those gaps. Because those gaps do need to be bridged. But for Tati, no, clearly, like, no one was able to bridge those gaps for her. And it's really sad because I feel like in terms of whatever the mental health system is, they just keep giving her drugs, but nobody is giving her talk therapy. And, like, there's no solution as to, like, why. Maybe it's just because she's Mexican or something. No one cares. I don't know. Like, there, on many instances, I've tried to go over, you know, and just talk to her. I invited her to the Buddhist dance group that I was a part of, and she participated there, and that was great. And, you know, her daughter, she has a baby now, but she doesn't talk. And I don't know another way to say it. The society is just, it is impossible to live in this society as a black woman. That is what I mean. Her story is so sad. I mean, I've been very critical, like, of her for a while. Mostly just in terms of, like, I felt like her mother could have done better. And I was vocal about that. And people hated me for that. Like, everyone thinks that I am the worst because I was like, oh, well, you could do this and it might change something. And people think that you are awful simply because you say, like, I would hope for something better. They don't hope for that. So, whatever. And yes, I did buy a whole case of orange juice. I wonder if anyone has, like, stories about that. I will actually talk. Okay, announcement for the channel and to anyone who cares. I've talked about this. If you are laughing at my hair, it is very funny, but this is the hairstyle until the end of September because, like I said, I am really about that life. I am participating in the blackout movement. So until the end of September, you're going to see me with this. But the announcement is we are headed to Africa. So I made that video that was like, yeah, like all the countries in East Africa. Where do you guys want to see me go first? I'm not just like, I'm not doing like a tourism blog video. These are more like, I don't know, let me be your tour guide. Because, I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, but in every place that I go, I'm going to have a guide. I'm not going to just be like walking around these random countries, right? But I want to tell you guys what the hot spots are, who are the connects and the links to know in every city, who are the best food bloggers, who's got the link. I saw that Thames is doing something in Nairobi. Just by following, there's like an event, a culture and society event happening. I followed that. It's called like Bottles and Wine or something. And they shared like the hottest hotel to stay at. So I took note of that. I'm sorry, but like me personally, I'm out. Like I've had enough of like, I don't have any more good positive stories to give. Right, like I don't want to make a bunch more videos about the bad time that I've had in America. You know what I mean? But I will like, I do want to like, and maybe I'll just start a new channel or something to like talk about that. But for this one, I do want it to be like kind of a summation of like Olivia's awful experiences in America. You can just see it in a very gradual timeline, and you can, you know, you can have your feelings about it, because there may be some things I felt didn't go well, but in your opinion, you felt they did go well. I don't know. Like, everybody has a different opinion about whatever's what. I'm just talking from my own point of view. So that's all I can do. This is my lived perspective. So